For you today. Did your life start the moment you were born? What I mean by that question is there something before and is there something afterwards? Do we just exist from birth, or is there possibly some form of continuum? And this is a very, very important question. And it's an important question because life seems to evolve and evolve and evolve. And the more we learn and the more we learn and more we learn, the more we move forward in life. But I'm questioning whether actually there is stuff that we bring from our previous life which helps us go through this process. You see, in my life I have certain skills. I'm good at certain things and not so good at other things. Why is that so? And these some of the things were from a very young age. I believe, and as the Bhagavad Gita explains to us, I'm reading chapter 6, verse 43, that everything is some form of continuum. So what does that mean? It means that what we bring from our past life are skills that we can develop. But why? Why do we possibly bring things forward from our past life? Well, what is the purpose of it? Well, the purpose of it is the Lord is trying to explain to us is He doesn't want to give up on us. We've studied and we've studied and studied life in our past and past and past lives, but we haven't got to that point of transcending into the spiritual world. So what the Lord is trying to say to us is He wants to give us a helping hand. And it's very, very, very beautiful. I mean, how many people in society nowadays want to give us a helping hand? And for nothing. No money, no Lakshmi whatsoever. It's very, very, very rare. Everyone always wants something from us in return for something that we do. But here, the Lord is actually saying to us, you have the right attitude, have the right endeavour, and I'll hold your hand. And I'll make everything that little bit more possible, that little bit more viable. Now that's very, 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 very beautiful. I can't think of anywhere else where I can actually experience that. Because everything normally has a timeline. When I was at school, when I was studying, if I wasn't successful in the class, then within that timeline, so be. And I wasn't the most intelligent of children. I struggled a lot at school. I was always in the bottom of the class. And therefore, the teachers didn't have much time for me. They concentrated on the children who were doing well in the class. I don't know if it makes any resonance with you about struggling with life sometimes. So from a very young age, I started to realise, okay, well, I'll just do my little bit. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to learn as much as I possibly could potentially, because I didn't really feel I had the assistance and guidance and teachers who actually were doing it from the heart. You see, education, in my case I went to a private school, is about fees. That's their interest, and to focus on the children who are doing very well, because that helps their reputation. How many children go to a higher school of more substance with high reputation? It helps their reputation. So me, I was at the bottom of the pile, and therefore I struggled in life in one degree or another. It was hard. But there is a point now that in my life, or the life that the Lord has given me, I have this opportunity now to study unlimitedly. And there isn't this timeline. Everything has timelines in life. Even if you go to college or university, you can only study for a certain amount of time. And if you don't complete your studies within a certain time, then it's ending, or you're asked to stop. You can't just continue and continue and continue. But this is the one thing with the Lord is, when we study with the Lord, it's unlimited. It's not a matter of, oh, should I do this for 6 months or a year? It is a lifetime, and lifetimes worth of lifetimes. Because I can't perceive for any single moment in time that I could be in this stage where I'm so purified that I can actually transcend into the spiritual world at the end of this life. I can't visualize it whatsoever. But anyway, it's not for me to decide, it's not for me to try to achieve that particular type of goal. It's for the Lord to arrange. And that's beautiful. That's very, 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 very beautiful. So I just focus on actually just studying and learning more about life. And this is why I call this aspect of Krishna consciousness, what I'm doing here, is Lord Krishna's University of Life. And Lord Krishna's University of Life is my way of going that little bit deeper based on the guidance and the teachings that he gives me. You see, I was never a good learner, as I said to you before. Some of the time I just didn't study because I wasn't interested. But here is this opportunity now to study. But there must have been something in me from a previous life that's enabled me to step into this life. Because why would I do this at this stage of my life if I didn't have something innate inside me? And this is why it's beautiful to have this belief pattern of this continuum from past lives. And this is what the Lord is offering us. You just do your bit, what you can in this life, and then he helps us through to the next life and the next life and the next life. And that is why we're born into a certain family with parents and teachers and guidance and mentors, all to help us step forward and step forward and step forward. And this is Lord's mercy. It's very beautiful mercy. I say to you again, how many people in life will do this for you? No one. Absolutely no one, as far as I'm concerned. Because everyone wants something, or they've only got a certain amount of time and energy to invest in you. And everything is about results. Well, actually, the Lord isn't about results. The Lord is all about attitude, approach, endeavour. Is more valuable than the results. Because the results is what makes us compete. Am I doing as well as someone else doing? Are they doing better than me? Why are they finding this easier? Why can they remember more mantras than I can remember? Why is it they can quote slokas? So I don't compare myself. And this is what Krishna teaches us to do, is don't compare yourself with others. Just do what you can, and he'll help us the rest of the way. So, this aspect of continuum is the key aspect to this verse. It's about us bringing stuff forward, our knowledge, our experience from our past lives. And as we progress, we learn a little bit more and a little bit more. It's like when I read the Bhagavad Gita 3 years ago, there was so much I didn't understand. But when I read it now, I'm reading it through a different mind, different eyes, and different understanding, and certain things now make more sense, and I get these beautiful light bulb moments. It's beautiful. But I was thinking the other day, when I was writing up this verse, that he teaches us through the whole process of not giving up. He's taught me a lot. You see, one of my sevas that I do for the Lord, I had a new Bhakta join the department, and he was very challenged with his health, and therefore his approach to seva was challenged as well. And I was a bit impatient with him because I just got seva to do, and I just need to get on with seva, and he just needs to do his seva basically. And I was getting a little bit irritated by it because I just needed to get on with my task, what he has to get on with, so that the department can function properly. And then when I read this verse and started to study it, I started to realise, if the Lord doesn't give up on me, why do I have this attitude of giving up on others? And I realised I can't, and I shouldn't, and I won't. It was very easy for me to turn around to my authority and say, look, can we change this Prabhu for another Prabhu? It's just too much demanding work. And my authority would have said, yes, no problem. But I realised actually that's not what Krishna wants me to do. Krishna has arranged for this Prabhu to come into the department under my authority, and I need to learn the lessons like he needs to learn his lessons. And that's very, 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 very beautiful. So on the basis that the Lord never gives up on me, I now learn never to give up on him or anyone else. And that is very divine, because that is a completely different mindset than I've ever experienced before. I like to help people all the time, but as we were talking about earlier, there's normally a timeline. But in this particular case, there is no timeline. I'm just going to surrender, Sharanagati, just surrender to the Lord's arrangements, the Lord's plans. Here's the controller, and I'm just going to allow things to progress and learn through it. And slowly but surely, it's been happening, because each day he comes into Seva, I'm now thinking slightly different of his situation. And it's not that I'm not accustomed to having health issues. I've had my health issues as well, and sometimes I haven't been able to do my Seva to my full capacity, only to what Krishna arranges for me to do. So that is a big, big, big lesson, and it's ongoing, and it's progressive, and I'm very pleased to report that. So the last part of this verse is that at certain stage in life, when we have purified enough through the whole aspect of devotional service to the Lord, maybe we'll be born into a Brahmanic family, a more spiritualized family, as the last stepping stone before we transcend into the spiritual world. But we have to be very, very, very careful, because I've met many people who live in Brahmanic families, and there's a lot of pride, a lot of prestige. I come from this background, I have this heritage, my grandparents, my great-parents, and my great-grandparents. But we have to remember this, time is changing. And I experienced this very much so about this Brahmanic family I met a while ago in the Mandir. I was talking to this father, and he must have been in his 60s, and he was telling me that his great-grandfather, he was a very spiritual man. He was a pundit, and a pundit gives guidance to other people in the village or the town and society, and makes a living out of doing that as well, just to pay. So he has some sabjis and some chapatis just to keep him going. But he was telling me that he doesn't do that sort of thing because he needs to support his family, so he now has a car dealership, a Mercedes car dealership, and that's his dedicated life. But he's a Brahmin, and he felt very privileged to say, I'm a Brahmin. But I was curious to notice that if he was a true, fully fledged Brahmin, why would he be a car dealer, let alone a Mercedes car dealer, which is of very opulence? Why would he be in this world doing this if he was by birth a Brahmin who's actually following the path of a Brahmin? And that's very, very important, because sometimes we have titles. I know in my birth religion, I come from Judaism, I'm a high priest, but I don't promote that I'm a high priest. Oops, I've just said it, but I don't, and I don't practice it either. And I don't really know what it is to be. So on that basis, I don't actually utilize that title or that heritage or that bloodline. I just set me as I am. But there's a lot to be careful of when it comes to people who believe that they're born into a particular family out of prestige. And we must be very, very careful of that. And if we are fortunate enough in the last stages of transcending to the spiritual world, and we are born into a Brahmin family, then we need to be very, very careful to understand why. And that is to gain the knowledge. The knowledge from those who are in the family who are more wiser than the average person, and also not to take advantage of the label to think that that is an entitlement. No, an entitlement is by studying. You see, as Srila Prabhupada says, just because your father is a doctor doesn't make you a doctor. Just because your great-grandfather was a lawyer doesn't make you a lawyer. You have to study. You have to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And this is the whole purpose of what the Lord Krishna is trying to teach us, to go deeper and deeper and deeper, to purify and cleanse until we are at that moment in time ready to transcend. So, I finish up with this recording and say to you, if you feel that you would like this opportunity to go a little bit deeper, to discover more about yourself, to discover why we do what we do, what is the purpose of our life, and maybe we can clean ourselves and purify and detoxify and decontaminate ourselves to such a point that maybe we can break free from this life of birth and death, illness, disease, old age, and actually spend some beautiful, beautiful times to come directly with the Lord in the spiritual world. Hare Krishna.